So if you could help us understand the Dutch mechanism or the industry linkages that would help the Indian startups here?
Yeah, sure. As I also indicated previously, this is in our mutual benefit and interest to not only focus on trade, because trade is basically just a very small part of it. And it's much more beyond trade, and it's about exchanging technology, exchanging expertise, exchanging best practices. And this is what we're trying to do. First of all, as I mentioned also before, we have centers of institutional facilitators to help startups to come to the Netherlands. And why is this important? This is not only important for Indian startups that want to come to my country, but also for other innovative partners that would like to work with us in the Netherlands, because to keep up the level, and this also goes for Finland, we are both lucky enough to be in the top 10 of the most innovative countries in the world, but that is something that might not be forever the case. So to maintain this level and to maintain our quality of life, to maintain our security, our health as well, our economic position, our trade position, we should invest more in innovation. My country is just a little below what the European Union measure should be like, which is 3% of the GDP. We invest amongst 2.5%. So we should invest more in order to keep the life quality at the level that it is. Finland is doing a little bit better in that sense than we do. I'm not jealous. and in India, there's a lot of room as well to improve and to invest in investing more in innovation, both from the government and from the private sector. So this is also something that we have in common. This is important for everyone. And that's why we also have visa facilitation services with also resources for companies from here that would like to come to the Netherlands. And we have very interesting Indian startups as well. For example, one is called Urivaka Technologies, you know it, yeah? so this is a niche technology for shrimp farming, which has a Dutch mother company, and they have a kind of mechanical feeder on the water, which is called mother pond. It's not very romantic to have a plastic or a steel mother, but this machine really feeds the shrimp in the optimal way, and this helps as well to further contribute to also food security and health indirectly, or maybe directly probably as well. And then there's also one other last thing that I will mention is the Hague Center for Strategic Studies has also a cooperation with a few very smart people from this wonderful country here to build and construct further enhancements on capacity building in the field of cybersecurity, which is also very important, as I mentioned before. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you for that. So we've learned about what the markets look like both in Finland and Netherlands. We've seen the sectors that are growing. We've heard some success stories, but I still have a minute left. And with your permission, I want to ask a surprise question towards the end. You know, over a decade of experience in the innovation and entrepreneurship field, I believe that an entrepreneur is an entrepreneur, no matter what geography he comes from or the country. And with such rich experience that we have between the two of you here, I just wanted one piece of advice that you would leave for an entrepreneur to succeed. We can start with Your Excellency first.
Well, it's a little bit difficult for me to advise entrepreneurs, but I really just want to emphasize that, for example, Finland and also the Netherlands really offer also Indian startups access to the European market, also world-class research institutions and business-friendly environment. So I think we also have developed entry programs, for example, Startup Permit program, which then promotes the mobility of Indian startups and entrepreneurs into the Finnish robust startup ecosystem. We have also public and private support mechanisms. On the public side, for example, we have an organization called Business Finland, which provides funding for startups. And on the private side, I already mentioned Slush. And like in the Netherlands, also Finnish cities offer these free of charge soft landing services and various programs we spoke about earlier. So I believe there are plenty of opportunities also for Indian startups to see what Finland and the Netherlands can offer for you as well.
Thank you. Thank you. Dave.
I'm looking at this screen which says time's up, so I will keep it short. I think basically a very human thing like curiosity and also understanding the regulatory framework, which is very important, of course, because it's the basis for any kind of establishment of a company or of doing business. And also getting to know the culture. This is all cliche, but it's a cliche because it's true. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a cliche. So it's important to get to also know that in both our countries and in many other northern countries in Europe, we are very direct. It's very consensus-based. People are much less interested in academic titles than in countries like India, for example. So it's good to take these things into account. And the Dutch are very direct. Some people think it's rude, but on the other hand, what you see is what you get. So it's also an advantage. And I think it's the same for Finnish people, right? Yeah. That's about it. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Thank you, Your Excellency. Thank you, Bernard. I think the audience have really enjoyed the insights that have come up. And one thing is for sure that, innovation does not happen in isolation. It will thrive with the partnerships that we flourish here. So thank you for these insights. With that, we conclude the session for today. Thank you.
Thank you, Asta. Thank you so much for moderating the session for us. So a lot of people probably coming to me and asking me whether all the sessions are happening. Yes, absolutely, you're right. All the sessions are happening. We're on time. So if you have the flow, we are absolutely going with the flow. And we are ready for our next panel discussion. This is going to be about India's climate story and opportunities in green manufacturing ecosystem. Moderated by Ms. Swapna Gupta, whose expertise in sustainability is widely recognized. Our panel features Mr. Mirik Gogri, Mr. Utkarsh Mishra, Ms. Juhi Joshi, and Mr. Karan Mola. They will outline opportunities in green manufacturing and the path to a sustainable future.
Thank you everyone for joining us. Today we have a very, very interesting panel. One of the panelists is on his way and will soon join us. The panel really is sort of how do we have come so far as a country, but really what's ahead and how do we get there. I think it's very interesting that it's happening today because yesterday Honorable Minister did share that slide which talked about where India is and where India needs to get, and I think this panel is sort of will take pieces and parts of it and discuss how do we really get there. What I will do is to kick off the panel, maybe have each of the panelists introduce themselves for 30 seconds or so that you get to know who they are, what are they doing, and how relevant is their experience to this topic. I'm Swapna Gupta. I'm a partner at Avana Capital. Avana Capital is a large climate-focused early-stage fund in India. We invest very early, about pre-Series A, in early-stage climate companies, anywhere between 1 million to 5 million. Very thematic. Sectors of interest are anywhere from energy to mobility to supply chains, agri, food systems, whatever can really move the needle forward and get us to a sustainable future.
Hi, good afternoon all. I am Mirik Gogri. I wear two hats. I am a principal at Spectrum Impact. Spectrum Impact is a family office which deploys capital across grant, equity and debt, largely in the climate space. We come a bit early than Avana, so we have a lot of partnerships with them. And we are building the ecosystem across various research and technology spaces focused on climate. The other hat that I wear is of RT Industries, which is a publicly listed company in the chemical manufacturing space, where I lead corporate strategy. So there is a understanding of what it takes for large-scale incumbents in this green transition.
Hi, hello everyone. I'm Zui Joshi from Climate Collective Foundation. We are an ecosystem builder for early stage climate tech startups. We help to support startups through market accelerators, helping them scale and reach markets. We also help with funding, access to different kinds of funding across startup stages, and as well as really help startups through a lot of other value added services that are needed to build startups and scale startups in the space. Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Karan Mola. I help lead investments at B Capital. We are a global fund across both India, Southeast Asia, and the US. We invest both. We have different funds for venture and growth. We also have a separate fund for climate. So we invest across life cycles of companies between 1 and 50 million. We've been investing in climate for the last 3 years. We have a separate team that does that. I help lead our climate investments in Asia as well. And one of the things that we work very closely is actually helping companies go global, especially from Asia. So one of the things that we're doing is working with early stage companies and growth companies, both in technology, healthcare, and climate, to help them go outside of India. We have a strategic partnership with BCG, which is the Boston Consulting Group, to help do that. So we have a lot of corporate partners as well. And climate is one of our core areas of investments.
Hi, I'm Dr. Bharat Nevalkar from Bharat Petroleum R&D Center based at Greater Noida. As we all know that we are looking into energy transition, and we are the main people, oil refiners. We are mainly hit by that. And at R&D Center, we are looking into various options and leading the area of energy transition at our corporation level. So I'm involved in green hydrogen, carbon capture utilization, and effectively on what are the options available to develop India-centric solutions for energy transition.
I'm Utkarsh and I lead the global innovation portfolio at Hero MotoCorp. We are the world's largest two-wheeler manufacturers, and it's my absolute pleasure to be here with the fellow panelists.
Thank you. And I think I'm very honored to be in a very, very, very diverse panel, from large corporate incumbent to public sector to a large capital player like B Capital, very early stage climate collective, and Mirik, who wears a very, very unique hat. As they say, necessity is the mother of invention. I think I also see crisis as the moment of innovation. I think we are in a moment of time where self-reliance, self-sustenance has become more important than ever, especially with this week of events and what has been happening in general across the world. I think we are at a moment where manufacturing is a key conversation, key topic across, but also there is this whole conversation, how does this manufacturing really become sustainable, and how do we really build in a way that we are creating a Viksit Bharat, but at the same time ensuring we meet our net zero goals. 2030, 2040, 2050, various milestones along the journey. How do we really achieve that while ensuring the growth is not compromised and we are becoming self-sustaining? A lot of problem statements need to optimize. We are a country, we are very good at optimization. I'm sure we'll optimize for all these variables. So let's start with you, Juhi, right? You come at the earliest stage where you're building this ecosystem. I think we have moved leaps and bounds from a services nation to where we are today. What are you seeing on the ground in terms of innovation, and which makes you bullish that in another 10 years we will be the manufacturing hub for the rest of the world?
So when it comes to deep tech and the manufacturing sector, I think we are seeing slow and steady growth. But just to put things in perspective, if you look at US, 7 to 10% of VC-backed startups are deep tech startups, right? Whereas in India, that number is about 2.5%. Right? The startups that we see in the deep tech space, we do see that the number of climate tech startups in the deep tech space is high. It's about 30%. So definitely there is interest in the climate tech arena when it comes to deep tech, right? But that being said, I think there are less than 10 unicorns in deep tech, right? Which says a lot about how much we need to move the needle towards the deep tech space. right? That's the landscape that we're talking about. When we talk about climate tech, I think, as you rightly said, Swapna, that climate crisis is very apparent, and we know that we need solutions in the space. Now, what's stopping us in that is, I think, just more allocation to research within universities. We do have a good network now of universities that are focusing on research, but definitely infrastructure upgradation is required to work on those. We need greater collaborations and sustained collaborations between industries and academicians, because we know that there needs to be early on collaboration with what the industry needs, so that they reach a particular scale to actually, get deployed as soon as they're out. There's a pathway there, right? That's also second. I think a lot of work needs to be done with professors to, work with the use cases that come out, and that's also another arena where we need to work. And then I think we need a lot more patient capital, because we see that deep tech requires a long, period where it has to be patient capital that stays with the innovator for long. And we're seeing that there are only very few investors that are invested into the deep tech space. So these are some of the challenges, and then we see that we need an enabling ecosystem that comes in, community events that help, a lot of value-added services at the right time that help in the entire deep tech journey. So that would be.
Thank you, Juhi. You are helping me moderate this panel very well, which means when you talk about capital, I have to put Karan on spot. So Karan, you represent B Capital, large sums of capital, you invest across sectors. But I think we are at a moment where climate tech has moved beyond, say, solar project financing projects which large infra guys were doing, to mobility, which was the theme for last 5-6 years, to newer innovations. Maybe it happens around circular economy, materials, energy storage, built environment. As you see the landscape changing, and as you think about capital allocation from your point of view, what are those areas where you see large opportunities where capital of B Capital and similar large investors will come to play, and how should startup ecosystem think about it?
Yeah, no, it's a very good question. So I think till maybe 3-4 years back, I don't think we thought of climate-related investing as a core part of what we should be doing, and that changed for a few reasons, which can be its own panel. So I won't get into that, but I think where we are today is it is one of the 3 core areas that we look at, both in the US as well as in India, across stages, and
Please put your hands together for our visionary panelists, Mr. R.K. Chaudhary, Chairman and Managing Director, NHPC Limited. Mr. Ajit Kumar Mishra, Executive Director, Dedicated Freight Corridor Corporation of India. Mr. Manoj Majokar, Chief Manager Contract, Indian Oil Corporation. And Mr. Anirudh Bishnoi, CGM at THDC. Welcome, gentlemen, and over to you, Tripti.
I hope it has been quite inspiring listening to our past panelists, and as a part of organizing committee of Startup Mahakumbh, I feel so proud. I don't know how many of you have been to Skytex Dubai. Any one of you? 2 people. I've been going there for last 2-3 years, and every time I used to go and I used to wonder, why not in India? You know why? Maximum participants are Indians, maximum exhibitors are Indian. We are making Dubai rich, although we should be here, right? So I'm so proud that we could build and bring such an amazing audience here, and we are very proud for you to be sitting all day and listening to us, but I'll make sure that this panel will really have a lot of takeaways for you. With this, I would really like to say, how many of you are aware about 25% mandatory procurement from MSME? How many of you? See, 4 of you are aware that only, at least minimum 25% of MSME procurement is mandatory for every public sector undertaking, right? How many are aware about 3% mandatory procurement out of that for women-owned businesses? How many women are there? Are you aware? You're not aware. Okay, so now you know that today panelists are of great value to you because every one of you today will be highlighting what opportunity we bring to the table today. We have with us NHPC Chairman, Chaudhary sir, over to you. I would like you to share about the opportunity we are talking about your procurement of last year, and if we even target 1% of it, that is what we are talking about right now. I hope you will be understanding that revenue brings you funding, right? Funding cannot bring you revenues. So I hope you're serious about this panel. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. NHPC, it is a premier Government of India organization. Basically, we are engaged in the development of renewable energy, mainly hydropower projects, pumped storage scheme, and solar and wind power. So, we are in the generating company and we are bound by the government guidelines, and whatever our annual procurement is there, out of that 25%, that is at least 25% is mandated to be procured from MSMEs. So out of 25%, now we are exceeding. Many years we are not able to meet, but now we are able to meet that. So out of that 25%, 3% is reserved for women entrepreneur, and 4% is mandated for SC/ST entrepreneur. So because we are very large hydropower utility, our last year annual procurement was 1200 crore, around 1200 crore. So out of that means 25%. So more than 300 crore. We did our procurement through MSME. This year our figure will be more, so it is around 1600 crore. So 1600 crore, you see at least 3% for women entrepreneur, that means 48 crore, 50 crore. What was happening that during the initial stage, we were defaulting because no women entrepreneur, no SC/ST entrepreneur, no MSME entrepreneur were coming out. We are procuring the materials through GEM portal. So GEM portal, we are uploading our requirement, our procurement bid, and the MSME or the women entrepreneur, SC/ST entrepreneur were not responding. Then we did many vendor interaction meet, many vendor interaction, especially women entrepreneur. So our head office is, NHPC's head office is in Faridabad. So we did our vendor meet in Faridabad, at different other places also. Now the response is very good. So otherwise, not meeting the criteria as fixed by the government is a default. And default, that means there will be less marks because our performance of the organization, that is outstanding performance, was very good or good. It depends upon the fulfilling the government criteria. So on this account, there was a problem, and we are not meeting the target. Since last 2 years, we are exceeding the target. So 25% is the minimum. That means it should not be less than 25%. It can be more than the 25% from MSME. So that is good opportunity for many of the small entrepreneur, mini, micro, small entrepreneur, and especially good opportunity for women entrepreneur. Since we are in the power generation, so we have 28, 29 operating power stations. So for maintenance of the power stations, we require lot of spares. a lot of equipment. And for construction of, we are also in the field of construction of hydro projects. So for the construction of project also, we need a lot of materials, chemicals, construction chemicals or construction materials during the construction of the project. So what figure I mentioned you, that is the pure procurement.
Excluding the crude.
Yes, procurement of the construction project, it is beyond that.
Right.
So that is good opportunity for the enterprises.
Right,
Okay.
sir. So thank you so much, sir. I hope when sir was saying MSME again and again, small entrepreneurs, I hope you know that you all are eligible for that. With this, I would like to go to Mishra, sir, from the FCC. Again, a huge opportunity in procurement. So, you know, there is an opportunity, but there is also an additional opportunity of innovation and technology. Many of you are actually working in innovation and technology. Mishra sir, we were just talking about this example which you were giving. If you can share the kind of opportunity which are there with your organization, what all exemption can people expect when they're talking about startups, is what we would like to hear from you, sir. So it's on. It's on.
So, thank you, Tripti, and thank you, the organizers, for having this kind of Mahakumbh. We just concluded one Mahakumbh at Prayagraj, and it really looks like the same Mahakumbh. Yeah, so that shows the interest of the young generations in looking for the opportunities. I am working as Executive Director in Dedicated Freight Corridor. It's one of the public sector under Ministry of Railways. And in every government organization, what Chaudhary sir was talking about, the procurement policies regarding MSMEs and all those policies are applicable across all ministries, across all public sector. So those policies are applicable in me also. I don't want to repeat that. What I like to tell and add is every procuring entity has a responsibility to develop new vendors in their process. For that, they are authorized by Ministry of Finance, General Finance rules, and also the Ministry of Finance procurement rules to go for certain level of procurements where no eligibility criteria, no experience is required. That means any new vendor can come and after following certain procedural thing, he can be a successful bidder and get the work allotted to them. Work, consultancy or goods, whatsoever is the kind of procurement, he is there. So that's the generic guideline from the Government of India, applicable all across the ministry. Now the specific about the MSMEs and startups. About MSME, Chaudhary sir has already mentioned. Let me mention you about the startups. I have seen some of the procuring entities putting certain restrictions on its startups. Like they are asking for some experience or all. So if you are asking for experience from a startup, that's kind of dichotomy, isn't it? The startup is starting something, so from where he will bring the experience? It's like the young graduate coming out of college and then employer is asking, where is your experience certificate? So we are not that rigid, or but every procuring entity should be sensible towards that. And Government of India's guidelines, procurement guidelines are responsive to that. So to support startups, what the first criteria or first entry barrier which government has removed is to remove the bid security or any kind of security which a bidder is required to submit when he is submitting, say, tender forms. So no security, bid security is required for startups. So all he can do now on online procurements, the cost of tender form is also free. So all he has to do is he has to procure a certificate from DIPP that they are startups and just they can participate.
So that's, and if following the procedure, if their prices are matching with the other fellow startups or other bidders, they will be successful. So that's the normal conventional route of entering a startup into the government procurement system. Now, it's in this entire process, the innovation, the new thinking, all those things are missing. Why missing? Because what a startup did at this time is he responded to what was floated as a tender and he filled up his application. What is actually required, or what will be the actual or the high level role of a startup which they should play, is that they should come up with the new ideas, new innovation, and they should pitch for that towards those public procuring entities. Like we all are sitting who are from the services of the government or public sector. If you expect certain level of innovation from us, I think I'm not sure about my fellow panelists, but I'm sure about myself. My idea of innovation will be very belittled. I'm not sure of my idea. But you young people are buzzing with those ideas. But you will, as I said, you will respond only when whatever tender I have floated. So what your idea will do? For that, my suggestion would be that you identify whatever idea you have, whatever startup you have, and who are potential consumers of your idea. Then you approach different, say if you want to work in Ministry of Railways, they're like in my ministry, you approach to those public sector or public procuring entities into the railway sector. You float your ideas, you go and discuss with them, had a platform like this where you float your idea and try to convince that procuring entity to go for or advertise a procurement requirement suiting to your idea. Like for example, as I said, I'm from railways. One of my job is to operate the train. For safe running of operation, I need to inspect the track and keep that in safe condition. The inspection of railway tracks and assets, how it had been done, you know, since 1851 it has been done through manual means. People walking on the tracks is doing the inspections.
And that also carrying a 30
kg weight on his
manually.
Shoulders.
They are doing it. They need innovation.
To visualize, and you can see the 55 years old guy, what will be his eyesight? God knows how those things are running into the system. I mean, what a new startup can propose, or like we are working based on obviously the suggestions from the new generations like you, that we have drones. What drones we are using is just using the wedding photography or something, new concepts, or why not use those drones, those cameras in inspecting the things, sending those photographs to your server room, matching those with the potential or idealized fault or missed errors, and then you identify that which location, what kind of defects was there in the track. So we are working on this inspection methodology with a startup. So that is one area where you can win. And when we are working, that is, we are still working at a very small area. The Indian railway track is over 60,000 route kilometer. You just think if you are developing this idea, where your startup will go. Your startup will be much bigger than any corporate of the India.
Yeah.
So this is the opportunity. So again, if you have certain idea which you can work in, so hydropower, you approach to the department of Chaudhary sir, you pitch your idea to them and say that, sir, you float your requirement and then we will participate, we will help you out. So it's win-win situation for both. Like we are also getting new idea, we are getting those services, and you are getting your business. So that is the opportunity for you.
Thank you so much. I think it is very, very important to note what sir said, that he would or the department would not be able to think. If you have an idea, you can always mail me and we can share with relevant departments. Please, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn. It's very easy. I'm very quick in my response. My team is also here. Shrishti, can you stand? If in case you feel today we have DFCC, we have NHPC, we have THDC as well, and we have Indian Oil. So in case you feel there is some innovation which you are doing which can actually be implemented, you have some idea, please message us or reach out to my team. We will definitely ensure. That's why we are here today. With this, I would like to move to Anirudh sir from THDC. It is a subsidiary of NTPC. All of you must have heard about. Sir, we would like to understand from you the opportunity again, but as you were sharing, with you it's not just a direct opportunity, it's also indirect opportunity because you are into consultancy business. You advise so many projects. So there is not only with you, but also where you are advising. So we would like to have your ideas on this.
Thank you, ma'am. First, let me introduce myself and my organization with the audience. I am Chief General Manager in TAGC India Limited. It's a hydro specialist organization like NHPC. NHPC certainly is a very bigger in size. We are little small. Now, what I am really happy to see that the gathering from such a young generation I am seeing, it's really a matter of pleasure. Me and my organization have always been open to the new generation and the new ideas. Before going to the statistics, what we have been doing or what we have done, I would certainly start telling you certain areas of new innovations where you can come up in hydro sector. As sir was telling, in case of railways, there was a very orthodox method. Similarly, in case of hydro, it is also the same story. Many of the areas we are still doing with the very conventional methods. Now, as sir told that there is a this drone technology. So digital elevation model method with the LiDAR equipped, if it is with the LiDAR survey, you can reduce the time of surveying and this assessing the issues, all these within, to the level of 10% only. So department is always open, and these are very small investment options. You can come up with a very small investment, these LiDAR groups. You can come up with the explorations. Nowadays, more than 100 pump storage plants government is intending to construct. So you can come up for the consultancy works with the soil, exploration of the areas. They are very small, works which makes one a big lot. So in that case, I share with you that in case of, as DMRC and other departments are doing, they are doing now the precast lining, precast concreting. So earlier it was almost a saga that we used to transport the cement, we used to transport the sand, we used to transport something, and then we used to, construct in situ construction at the site for the hydro. Now you can, if the project is inside, from a railhead about 200 kilometers, you can construct a yard at the railhead only, and you can make the precast components that can be transported over there. So there are many ideas because time is less. So if you come to me personally, it will take days.
Yes, so we will definitely take up more. I would like to now quickly, because we are short of time, so we would like to go to Manoj ji. Manoj ji is from Indian Oil. I think we've been working for last 7 years together to help women to achieve women-owned businesses target of 3%, and it has been a wonderful experience because Manoj ji come forward and give us what are the opportunity, like sir has been speaking about, everyone is talking about. So with this, Manoj ji, if you can share few examples which are very very quick for people to get into, and what has been your experience, that would be really great. I would like to really share with you that we recently with Manoj ji helped a woman to grab an order of 12 crore. She is making drums. So they got an order for Indian Oil recently just because of the guidance of Manoj ji. With this, I would like to hand over the mic to Manoj ji to share his views in the limited time.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. जितने मेरे यहाँ पे पार्टिसिपेंट्स बैठे हुए हैं, सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट है कि आप इनोवेशन तभी दे पाएंगे जब आप उस इंडस्ट्री की इंफॉर्मेशन रखते हो. इंडियन ऑयल 1959 में प्रेजेंट शेप में जैसा चल रहा है वैसे 1959 में फॉर्म हुआ था. रिफाइनरीज डिवीजन में इंडियन ऑयल मथुरा रिफाइनरी डिवीजन में पोस्टेड हूँ, और मैं अपने एक्सपीरियंस ये बताना चाहता हूँ कि जैसे तो एक अभी डायरेक्टली ये मिला, और हमने काफी टेंडर निकाले जिसमें कि अपने टेंडर्स में हमारे टेंडर 2 कैटेगरी के होते हैं. एक होता है क्रिटिकल एंड नॉन क्रिटिकल. नॉन क्रिटिकल टेंडर में स्टार्टअप्स को कोई एक्सपीरियंस की जरूरत नहीं है, ना ही उसको कोई टर्नओवर की जरूरत है, ना ही कोई एक्सपीरियंस की जरूरत है. इस पोस्टिंग के पहले, मथुरा की पोस्टिंग के पहले मैं डिगबोई रिफाइनरी में पोस्टेड था, इंडियन ऑयल डिगबोई इन डिब्रूगढ़. वहां पे हमने सेम इसी कैटेगरी में नॉन क्रिटिकल टेंडर में फ्लोट किया था, और उसमें स्टार्टअप्स ने पार्टिसिपेट किया विद DPIIT का सर्टिफिकेट जो आप घर में बैठ के बना सकते हो, वो सर्टिफिकेट लगाया उन्होंने. उनको कोई एक्सपीरियंस की और किसी चीज की जरूरत नहीं थी, और उसी में बाकी लोगों से उन्होंने compete करके L1 फिलोसफी में L1 होके उनको वो ऑर्डर गया. दैट ऑर्डर वैल्यू वाज अराउंड 1 करोड़. उन्होंने पेवर ब्लॉक का एक ऑर्डर लिया था. सो इस टाइप के इंडियन ऑयल में जैसे एग्जेम्पशन की बात हुई स्टार्टअप्स की, स्टार्टअप में इंडियन ऑयल वो सारे एग्जेम्पशन आपको देता है, जैसे कि टर्नओवर की जरूरत नहीं है, देन आपको कोई एक्सपीरियंस की जरूरत नहीं है, आप हमारी इंडियन ऑयल की साइट से या जेम साइट से डायरेक्टली टेंडर देख सकते हो, तो फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट है. और अगर कोई भी दूसरी इंफॉर्मेशन की जरूरत होगी तो मैं अपने नंबर शेयर करूंगा फ्यूचर में.
Thank you so much, sir, for winding it up so quickly. I would just conclude this session in 30 seconds by handing over the mic to Chaudhary, sir. But before that, I hope all of you have registered for MSME, NSIC registration, and Startup India. That's what I would say. And over to you, Chaudhary, sir, for the closing remarks.
Thank you. I will add whatever I have spoken earlier, and many things has been explained. That there are so many promotional policies by the government for MSME, for startups. I will say one example. One startup came with to us that, sir, you are wasting so much of time for taking the runner of the turbine and repairing it. So I will provide you the bolted runner. So bolted runner, you can just remove the particular part of the runner and then you can repair it quickly and fix it. So out of our R&D fund, so every organization, so I will inform the all startups that every organization is mandated to spend 2% of their profit in innovation, R&D works, research and development works, innovation works, technological advancement works related to their business area. So whatever the business area ours is, so out of our profit, 2% we can spend on the such innovation and R&D. So it is a good opportunity for the startups to use those funds to approach the industry, approach the organizations that please see, we want to help you in your business area like this. We want to increase your efficiency. We want to increase your productivity of your business, and with such innovations or with such technological advancements. So
thank you so much, sir. Thank you everyone for being a patient listener. Thanks a lot everyone on the panel for being here and taking our time. Thanks a lot once again. Bye-bye.
Hello, this is SK Dash, founder of Consider Life Sciences Private Limited, and we are here at the Startup Conclave 2025 at Hyderabad. We have a wonderful arrangement here where startups from the premier institutes like CCMP, IICT and NGRI were all there, and I think there has been a wonderful way to get exposed and cross-fertilize the ideas, and we have had a very nice way of collaborating, exchanging our thoughts and taking it to the next level, which probably would not have been the case if we were to indulge in email or correspondence, but here direct exchange of thought process, much quicker, much better. Now, we are working on malaria, and we have already commercialized a product, Opunica, and we are in the research development phase for developing a product which would eventually eliminate malaria by preventing it. And that was very widely appreciated by the Minister, the Honorable Minister, Dr. Jitendra Singh, and we hope to take this forward in a much more forceful and effective manner to inch towards commercialization. Thank you, and thank you for your time.
To stay informed about the startup ecosystem, subscribe to MyStartupTV.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are all set for our next panel discussion. Startup-driven economic transformation, building $1 trillion digital economy. Ladies and gentlemen, हमारे साथ we're going to have on stage a moderator, Ms. Shweta Rajpal Kohli, President and CEO, Startup Policy Forum. Please give a big hand for her, everyone.
Thank you so much. I know we had a power-packed panel before that, and star founders. So from star founders to stars in the government ecosystem, it's my honor and privilege to be moderating this session. How can startups power $1 trillion digital economy? And you know why I'm super excited about this session? I think two reasons. It is the only Sarkari panel, as we can call it. So, you know, if you want to know what the Sarkar is thinking, what the government's thinking, and how the government's enabling startups, this is the session where you're going to hear it all. And there's one other special reason why I'm excited about moderating this session, because for once, you know, we have diversity of a different kind. So thank you, Abhishek Singh ji, for being the diversity candidate this time on the panel. And I'm super, I would say, proud to have two women leaders here. You know, we've got Aarti Bhatnagar, Special Secretary in the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. And in fact, she has got multiple portfolios. So simply a powerhouse in the Indian government and is driving so many initiatives. Manmeet Nanda, Joint Secretary in the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, and someone I've had the pleasure of working very closely in her earlier avatar of dealing with startups at DPIIT and holding multiple portfolios, and she's someone who understands this ecosystem very well. And I would say, in some ways, the person sitting next to me is the man of the moment for India. Abhishek Singh, Additional Secretary, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, METI. But more importantly, he's holding the dual charge as the CEO of India AI Mission. And of course, who doesn't want to know what's going on in AI right now and what's going on as far as India and AI is concerned. So let me start by actually getting him to answer exactly that. Mr. Singh, we know that the world is watching India right now in AI. There is almost palpable excitement and energy about India moving forward in the AI ecosystem. Share with us everything that the government's doing to enable this, and what is it that the audience sitting here in the room should watch out for?
See, thank you for having me here. And in fact, as you rightly said, the world is looking at India. The world is looking at India providing leadership in the AI story that is unfolding. We have shown what digital public infrastructure can do, and there's a lot of expectations, especially with the talent that we have in the digital space. In fact, if you look at the Stanford AI Index, it rates India as the #1 in AI skill penetration. If you look at the number of GitHub AI projects, we contribute 24% of the projects on GitHub, the projects contributed by Indians. So there is a lot of expectations. So similar to ensure that we are able to reach their potential, because currently we are much behind US and China when it comes to building AI models or AI applications. So the government did examine what were the gaps in our AI story, and it was felt that we need to provide compute infrastructure, we need to provide data sets, we need to provide funding for foundational model, we need to provide funding for startups who are working in this field, because very often AI and deep tech requires patient capital. It's not that you invest X and you get a return in 2 to 3 years. Sometimes you have to wait for long. So under that, India AI Mission was conceptualized, a funding of almost $1.2 billion, 10,372 crores to be precise, which seeks to provide compute. We have already empaneled 10 service providers, 14,000 GPUs are available at a very low cost, 115 rupees per GPU per hour, and over and above this, government provides 40% support. So the net cost for GPUs for a startup is less than $1, 67 rupees per GPU per hour, which ensures that entrepreneurs, startups, researchers working on AI models and applications can access that. We set up a platform called AI Kosh, which is providing data sets, tools and models. More than 400 data sets are available there, and ultimately data sets is something that you require along with talent and compute to build AI applications. We also publish a call for proposals of foundation models, because there is a lot of expectations of everyone that China has come with DeepSeek. When will India come up with foundation models? So we have got almost 200 proposals for building India foundation models. The first set of proposals is likely to be finalized, that will be funded by the government within the next 2 weeks, and we hope that these companies will be able to work on, with the support provided, to build a foundation model that is trained on India data sets very soon. We also have other pillars in the India AI Mission, where we are providing support for skilling, we are providing fellowships for undergrad students or master's students, and for research scholars. We have to provide funding support to startups. We are also building tools for safe and trusted AI. Then application development is again another focus area, wherein we did publish an innovation challenge across 5 themes of agriculture, healthcare, learning disabilities, governance and climate change, and we got 900 applications, out of which 30 were selected and given the first stage of about 25 lakhs by Honorable Minister on 6th of March, and more challenges coming in. So government is trying to provide support at all levels for data sets, for compute, for foundation model, for applications, for building safe and trusted AI, to ensure that our startups, our researchers come up to the expectations and build something that we can truly call Indian and state of the art.
Thank you. That's a lot happening, and clearly you're driving all of it, and we know the next few months are going to be super exciting. And I think what most people say is that India may get it late, but it gets it right. And I think that's the moment everyone's waiting for. And even though we may not see an immediate LLM model coming up, but what we're definitely seeing is vast innovation when it comes to AI use cases and adoption of AI, and something that I can vouch for, that is the Startup Policy Forum. We have so many of the high growth startups as our members, and each day we're seeing AI adoption at a transformative pace. But I think this is also a moment to pause and reflect on the kind of journey of startups we've seen so far. And while we talk about the gaps, as you've rightly identified, and policymakers like you ensuring that we stay ahead of the curve and we're able to plug those gaps, let's first acknowledge the progress. And Aarti ma'am, I'd like you to come in here, because just the sheer explosion of the Indian startup ecosystem, just the fact that we have come in the last 9 years, ever since Prime Minister Modi announced Startup India as a major flagship initiative, a major plank, just the fact that we've seen so much innovation, so much progress, so much success of the startup ecosystem. Could you share with us where India stands today in that startup journey?
So I think after the very stellar kind of a panel that we had before us, the speakers who were actually the stalwarts of the startup ecosystem, I think now getting the kind of a Sarkari point of view of what we've been able to do till now in this 9 years of journey, when we started in 2016, I think there are some statistics which should be of interest to all of you. Now we've become the 3rd largest startup unicorn nation in the world. There are 118 unicorns with a total valuation of over 354 billion plus USD. And the unicorns who have made the largest impact is from a 13 times increase, that is from 8 in 2015 to 118 in 2025. So I think this is something that we are very proud of having, this kind of ecosystem which has now come up in the country. So these are the things which I wanted to share with you all, that some more statistics I think which should be of interest is that we've issued 1,64,554 startup certificates, and these have created jobs of 18 lakh plus. The average number of employees per startup is somewhere 11, and the number of states who have a startup policy, it started as 4 in 2016, and now we have 31 states and UTs who have a dedicated startup policy. So this is the kind of achievement that we've got. More than that, I think there is something that we need to understand, that while we may have certain schemes which were giving the right nudge to the developing a startup system, whether it was our startup seed fund or it was our fund of funds scheme, the very important thing is that the environment was created where the startups were able to flourish. But I think we need to go further, because everything, it's a matter of relativity. As they say, the relativity principle is very important. So it's very important also to look at what the other countries have done and where are we in this entire sector, in this entire ecosystem. So that is where we are not resting on our laurels. We in the government have been working on further schemes. So we have, which was just announced in this budget for this financial year, we have a fund of fund 2.0, where another 10,000 crores have been given, which will be able to fund startups, through the AIFs and other means, other venture capitalists and all. The initial 10,000 tranche which was given earlier, 5 years back, has completely been utilized, and now we've got another infusion of capital. So these are some of the things which I thought I must share with you all. And as far as I just wanted to take another few seconds to talk about the Startup Mahakumbh, where we are sitting today. It's the second day. And, I'm really loving this kind of vibrancy and the enthusiasm and the number of footfalls which I'm seeing. which is exponentially grown from last year when we had the first edition. So I think that is a very, very happy situation. And I think it is a time for collaboration, for learning, for, showcasing what you have, and also trying to adopt whatever you've learned so that we can, further go on to the next stage.
All right, Manmeet Nanda, ma'am, you've seen this ecosystem very, very closely in your previous roles, and now you're also driving social inclusion in many ways. I'd like to pose twin questions to you. First, your understanding of the ecosystem and the fact that we have so-called 100+ unicorns, but we're now talking about the next wave of innovation, Startup India 2.0 in some ways, and the fact that now we need to ensure that we're seeing innovation across deep tech, across AI, across many other sectors. What do you think the government can do to enable this? And two, we also want this startup magic to spread well beyond the metros and the tier 1 cities. So how do we take it to tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, and especially to something that is within your mandate, the social inclusion part, and I would say empowerment. If you could shed light on how you're thinking about that.
Thank you, Shweta, and thank you for having me here. Feels great to be part of the community that is so vibrant, so young, energetic, and always throwing great challenges. Yes, that's true. We have come a long way, but there's so much more to do. And transforming India into the 1 trillion economy that we want to be, the answer lies in two major ecosystems. That is one, the startups that we all are here sitting and being a part of and being proud of, the unicorns, and of course the MSMEs. They are the backbone of this country. And MSMEs in a very basic way are or have been the true startups of the Indian economy so far. We need to carry what Aarti ma'am mentioned and what Sir mentioned, carry those reforms further. We need to go beyond the metro cities, and we have been, but encouraging tier 2, tier 3 startups more. And inclusion should be a matter of design and not chance like we have on the stage today. Inclusion, as I see, like I'm looking at a different sector now, people with disabilities. There are so many startups that are doing such commendable work to ease and to progress and transform the lives of people with disabilities. I am shocked to see that there are devices available in the market where a completely vision impaired person has a keyboard that can convert what is on text on the screen into braille, helps him read that, not audio, but helps him read that in braille. He can type back on that keyboard onto the desktop and gets on to an English language that most of us understand. So reform journey needs to continue. The government, industry, academia relationship needs to be greatly strengthened. What we have shown in our startups by changing the way we eat, changing the way we buy things or we sell things, it's what India has shown to the world. I mean, we are a great model for everyone, and I think this needs to continue. Further reforms by the government, continuation of the fund of fund schemes, the startup, the seed incubations startup fund, big proponent of that, because our startups need the hand-holding. AI is the future, it's the present, it's the future. Every day I think I will try and figure out greater things that I can learn on Grok. Perplexity, AI throws me another ball. So I need help, sir, on teaching government bureaucrats like us also to pick up our rate of learning for AI and what the startup world can throw on to us. So
Well, that's an interesting one, Abhishek sir, now, and I think I'd like you to respond to what Manmeet ma'am said.
Yes, see, like I fully agree. Like, of course, we all agree that AI is the in thing, and we all are using it, playing with it. But AI goes beyond just writing poems or creating content by using or Ghibli images has become popular on Chat GPT.
And controversial.
No, but in fact, OpenAI has been like since last 2-3 days they have been tweeting about the India is the place. But that's because they are seeing it as a market. But we need to go beyond that. that by just using it for creating funny things or cartoons or poems or jokes. We need to realize that AI can transform things, as Manmeet mentioned. We did this innovation challenge for learning disabilities, and the kind of solutions that we got, which can help detect autism, which can help solve problems for dyslexia, which can solve problems for dyscalculia, are amazing. Helping people, blind people to see, navigate, helping deaf and dumb to hearing impaired people to communicate better. So there are multiple tools. AI is transforming agriculture. AI is transforming healthcare. So what we have seen is that, and what we are hearing and what we expect is that India will come up with a voice-based LLM, which will ensure that with voice you will be able to seek information services. And in India, that will empower the 500 million people who are not connected to the internet there. So the potential of AI is huge, but at the same time, what she mentioned towards the end, that how do we build in capacities within the government and outside? How do we ensure that we are able to use these tools for improving productivity at all levels, and more so in government? So like I got Karamyogi platform has got, in fact, 2 of their team members, I see them in the audience here also today. So it has got a lot of courses on emerging tech, on AI, on ChatGPT, on Gemini, for using AI in healthcare, on various domains. And happy to say that those courses are one of the most consumed courses on the platform. So there is an effort within the government to improve capacities. There is an effort within the industry to use AI to build applications. What we need is to scale up many of these applications. They should not just remain pilots or proof of concepts. How we can take them to logical end and ensure that more and more people benefit from them. That's the challenge that we as civil servants have, to work along with startups to make that happen.
All right, I know we just have the last 5 minutes, and I think I want to go back to the topic, which is how can startups power a $1 trillion digital economy? And for startups to power the $1 trillion digital economy, we need enabling policies and regulations that would allow that. So let's talk about 2030 and talk about that one policy change. And it doesn't have to be in your ministry, it doesn't have to be something that you are driving, but any one of the 3 of you can start, and I'd love to get from all 3 of you that one policy change that you think can fast track this process and take India onto that path of a $1 trillion digital economy. Anything that you'd all like to talk about?
Should I go in first? I was taken on a tour to South Korea with my startup team. And what we've not done is we've not capitalized on our high network individuals in our country. There are about maybe 3 lakh plus. They are sitting over assets of 1 million plus. We need to tap those, give them incentives. Also to show them our trust, that we can be trusted as a startup ecosystem, be transparent. I also have read very recently that the startups in the US, they don't rely on the IPO and the basic stock exchanges. So that is where we need to do. And that, I think, Aarti ma'am, if we try and build a venture capital within the government, with our locking our arms and hands with the private sector, and I think given a sweat equity, do some ratings for startups who've performed brilliantly on the stock exchange, increase the trust aspect of it, I think we will be able to bridge that gap of capital, because I think what our startups need is capital. And there are a lot of corporate fundings also that can come in, and I think that is an aspect that we need to look up to. So I think this is one way forward, and I would love the DPIIT to take up this and to create a venture capital fund of their own and to take this forward.
So, well, thanks for those thoughts, Manmeet, but let me tell you one thing.